How much does your transition shit cost?
Hormones.
Yes, how much does it cost?
Well, I just got back on Medicaid.
Hormones,
so
but no, you got tits as well.
Those were free.
You did your
Those
nails,
were free.
Nails? Why?
Because my body is priceless.
No, how was it free?
Oh, Colorado taxpayers. Yeah.
Not federal, right? Just Colorado?
I don't.
I hope not, because I just wrote a $4 million check the other day to the IRS. If that's paying for literal titties, what are we doing?
This is
I have nothing wrong with trans, but why am I paying for people's boob jobs?
Don't get me wrong. I don't think it should happen either, but I did abuse the system. Because why would I pay for it if I can get it for free?
The government, the taxpayers paid for your tits?
I mean, I pay taxes too, so some of my
No, you're not a net
there.
contributor. No, we just sent you $4,000 back, especially with your no tax on tip thing, and the majority is tip. It's honestly, it's just I'm not in favor of the no taxes on tip thing. It's so stupid. You already contribute nothing, and it's just more populist policy.
No, you're right. We should just be getting paid a normal wage, so we shouldn't have to get tipped.
Well, that's fine too, but advocate for that. It's just so stupid. It's just a performative policy, and that's why both parties are on it, because populism is winning right now, and it's so stupid. You already don't contribute anything. You're part of the...
I do contribute.
No, you're part of the 50% that contribute 1%. It's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket.
I don't know
if it was gone, nothing would change. This is, we give everything to you. Now we pay for your boobs.
Okay, so if you don't know Caleb Hammer, he does a financial show where he essentially looks into people's financials and essentially schools them. And this is a video he did about it.
How much does your transition shit cost?
Someone who transitioned, and essentially the taxpayer is paying for their transition. Well, today we're going to be jumping into another committee hearing. Jeff Van Drew apoplectic over Biden era actions at SLPC, Southern that was a misspelling over there. SPLC, but they spelled it as SLPC. SPLC focused hearing. So we'll just listen to this and give your comments in the chat.
Mr. Leo thinks the hearing's ridiculous, but actually, I'm pretty sure he thinks it doesn't. Gentlelady from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I have unanimous consent
request. The LSB?
I request unanimous consent to enter into the record an article from April 15, 2026, titled Justice Department Moves to Toss Seditious Conspiracy Convictions of Oath Keepers and Proud Boys.
The objection.
And the second one I have is several Tennessee House Democrats stripped from committees after last week's special session.
The objection.
Thank you.
Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to take the gentlelady from North Carolina's advice and get to what I believe is the truth here. And I'm getting a little historic on you. Anybody ever hear of Machiavelli? Remember that when you learned that in school? You know, and you can debate the exact wording of what it means. You can debate the exact origin, but the meaning is basic and it's simple and it's as old as politics itself. If you believe, according to Machiavelli, that your cause is important enough, that it's righteous enough, that you want to obtain certain goals, that it's urgent enough, there are no rules, no morals, and no ethics. Truth becomes flexible, and there are no standards anymore. And people start telling themselves that anything is acceptable if they can win, if the outcome is important enough to them. This is about winning. This is about the left wing, I'm sorry, but it's about the left-wing Democratic Party wanting to win and using the SPLC, using each other as tools to make sure that they win elections and put out misstatements. And we have to ask, when it become part of the philosophy? Well, in the last administration, we saw a lot of things, an FBI of lies, an FBI of untruths, an FBI of injustice, an FBI that Joe Biden was willing to rely on politically tainted information, some of which came from the SPLC. Bad information. We know now that it was wrong, that it wasn't true at multiple levels.
And there are people who still quote those lies. I literally saw someone in my comment section, guys, who made a comparison between Joe Biden's kids and Trump's kids, essentially claiming that Joe Biden's kids were saints and President Trump's kids grifters and cheats. Like, people still believe these lies. People still parrot these lies, and that's the unfortunate thing. And when you confront them, you're the problem.
Orleans told the AG told us that the greatest threat facing the entire country was domestic violent extremists. But the real threat, the great threat, a great threat to freedom, was his own Department of Justice and his own FBI back then. It was scary. If you had a different opinion, guess what, folks? And I'm not trying to address this to you, Mrs. Wiley. I have a right to be conservative. I have a right to a different viewpoint. But there's not one human being up here that supports the Ku Klux Klan. None of us like it. I bet you there's nobody in this whole damn room that supports the Ku Klux Klan.
You might be
Catholics
surprised.
saw the clearest example of this. It was hateful. It was hurtful. They went after Roman Catholic churches. They were going to have undercover agents. Thank God we found the information. It would have been going on. They went after Hindus in my own state of New Jersey. Good, faithful, peaceful, loving people. The FBI went in with guns drawn from bad information that they got.
I don't think it was bad information. I think it was totally intentional. A lot of the things that people want to attribute to incompetence are actually due to malice. Okay. So I remember 2023, 2024, people being arrested for praying outside abortion clinics. We had parents who were arrested for showing up at school board meetings complaining that boys dressed as girls were using the girls' bathrooms, and then the FBI would pay them a visit. These things were happening. The thing that concerns me is this. Now that we're a few years or a couple of years removed from the Biden administration, people are forgetting that these things happened. I'm going to play a video after this that shows you The View literally lying about something that we all saw. We all saw it going on, and they're claiming that it never happened. So I'm going to play that video because I think today is the anniversary of George Floyd's death at the hands of the police. He was being arrested, and some things happened. I'm not going to litigate that. But we keep hearing these people trying to rewrite history that we all lived through, and it's frustrating.
SPLCA supplied a lot of this. The FBI painted them as domestic terrorists. The same thing with parents in school board meetings that were worried about the stuff their own biological children were being taught to them. It is wrong. Catholics aren't extremists. Concerned parents aren't extremists. Hindus aren't extremists, but we've seen the pattern before over and over again. We saw it in the abuse of FISA. We saw it when, by the way, tax dollars, questionable sources, FBI, Igor Danchenko, remember that? Hundreds of thousands of dollars paid to him for bad information. We also got bad information from the Southern Poverty Law Center, all for politics to go after Republicans. That's the elephant in the room. That's what people don't want to talk about, but that's the real deal. If you were conservative, and no, Charlie Kirk was not a terrorist. If you just sat and listened to what he said, you might not agree with it. He was just a very faithful, conservative person. It's his right. And now the worst of all of it, though, is that we find the Southern Poverty Law Center is just one more tool. I think it started out good. I think they wanted to do good things. I think there are still people in there that want to do good things, but it's been used in a way that is perverse and awful to get political goals of a political party accomplished. Machiavelli through and through. It's pretty damn amazing. People donated money believing they were helping good causes, helping vulnerable people, and in the beginning they were. Nobody wants racism. Nobody up here in this room wants racism. Nobody wants to hurt anybody. Nobody wants to hate anybody. But the Southern Poverty Law Center and the work that they've done in recent times has actually caused more hate, more hurt, and more problems. They gave money to the KKK. I don't give a how you approach it, what you say about it, it's a bad thing. I just got some real quick questions because I know I'm running out of time. Mr. Perkins, should the Southern Poverty Law Center have had such a high level of influence in federal agencies?
No.
No. Mr. O'Neill?
No. In fact, with the FBI memo, the SPLC has suggested that the Catechism of the Catholic Church is itself a hateful document.
It's unbelievable. I'm a Roman Catholic.
Okay, I did not hear that. Okay, they literally stated that the Catechism of the Roman Catholic Church is hateful. These people believe that Christian doctrine that clearly states how Christians should conduct themselves is hateful. Okay, so yesterday while I was live streaming, I said something. I said that I was talking about the algorithm and how when I raise my voice and get really fired up about something, the numbers grow. And gardening says, "Is that why? Is that why you raise your voice?" And I said later that whenever I pause and I try to catch my breath, it's because I'm trying to hold back from simply letting loose, because it is outrageous. It is outrageous that anyone could take the teachings of Scripture, teachings from the Bible, and then claim that it's hateful, it's dangerous, it's harmful, simply because the people that don't want to live under the teachings of the Bible, who are convicted by the teachings of the Bible and don't want to have to hear it, want to say it's hateful so that laws can be written in order to shut down the speech they don't like. That's what's going on. You know it and I know it.
Resent that, Ms. Wiley. I'm not a hateful person. I would never hurt anybody. I resent that. And so do a lot of Catholics, and so do a lot of people of faith. They have a right to...
Mr. Chairman, if we're going to run over time,
No.
can we talk about the president's attack on the Pope?
How does an organization...
Is that part of your presentation?
Last question, then I'm done.
That sounds like Jamie Raskin. They're just looking for something to say. Oh, the president does it too. Excuse me, who started it? Who started it? Someone posted a meme. President Trump liked it, or his team liked it, and they reposted the meme. And then the Pope decides to go after President Trump, saying that what he posted was blasphemous. President Trump didn't want to get into it with the Pope or anyone. They started with him, and then when he responds, it's a problem. Okay, I'm getting fired up again. Like, it's stupid. Okay, it's just stupid. These guys are smart. They know what they're doing. And they know that doing these stupid things appeals to that fringe group of voters that have essentially taken over the Democrat Party.
How does an organization maintain credibility?
The gentleman from New Jersey controls the time.
As an
Gentleman can ask
authority
his
on
last question.
I'm losing my time here, but how does an organization maintain credibility as an authority on extremism if there's serious concerns being raised about its own extremism, its own judgment, and its own activities? Real quick, Mr. O'Neill, Mr. Perkins. And Dr. Swain, how about you go?
I can say that by 2009, they had already deviated and started targeting conservatives. And I would say that they were so effective at eliminating hate groups that they had to find new people to label new organizations.
And that's the thing about NGOs. I don't like NGOs. Okay, I don't like NGOs. NGOs saw what was going on with the church. Oh, that's a tax-exempt group out there doing stuff in the world that, oh, the government gives them tax breaks, and, they don't have to pay tax. Why don't we start doing what the church does? For money, because that's what NGOs are. They simply do all of these things that the church had been doing for centuries, and they want to call it a non-governmental organization doing things. Look, guys, the church was already doing it for centuries before you guys showed up. And then they begin to look for problems to solve. And you know what? When those problems get solved, what happens? The reason for the NGO existing stops, and they don't have to keep collecting donations. So what do most of these NGOs do? They essentially create forever problems. They create forever problems that never go away. It's either they are horrible at solving the problems, or they are part of creating the problem so that the money continues to flow. That is the scam of NGOs. I don't like NGOs. My wife worked for NGOs for a long time, and I saw what they were doing. Not that she was involved in anything dishonest or they were involved in anything dishonest, but I felt like these NGOs were just redundant, and they just wanted to insert themselves into things that the church was already doing. And they just wanted to kind of, it was essentially a money grab as far as I was concerned. Sorry about the rant. I'm upset again about this nonsense about NGOs, and the SPLC was just another NGO trying to gain power. A problem had been solved. They needed to create new enemies. Exactly what Dr. Swain just said.
That's the problem.
You're right. Go back to your original mission. I have a
Perkins?
few UCs.
Okay. We'll do UCs then, I
And
think.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, just so we're clear, that was 1 minute over as we move into Ms. Balance
We've
time.
been very lenient with the time.
I just want to make sure we're doing it equally,
Hang on,
that's all.
remember, so
Equal
some-
rights, that's all.
Moving to
I have a-
UCs from Mr. Van Drew, UCs from the
I have a
gentle lady from
UC,
Pennsylvania,
April
and then we're
20
actually going to go vote, and then we'll come back once votes are completed.
All right, so hang on. Okay, they have a few more
Gentleman from
seconds.
New Jersey,
So let's
UC.
see.
I have a UC from Moms for Liberty, and it is entitled "The Justice Department Announced Indictment Against Southern Poverty Law Center." A
Okay.
UC from Tyler O'Neill on
All right,
2026 Democrat.
that video is over. So guys, now you guys are here, and in real time, look, it's weird. Look, gardening, watch the numbers. Okay, whenever you see me ranting, the numbers go up. I don't like it. It is manipulation to the highest degree. Gardening says rant equals numbers up. I just look, and meanwhile, how's the audio going? Because I have a story. I have a story to tell you guys. My space is a mess. Okay, I literally had to change the setup today. I'll tell you the story at the end of the live stream. So let me read the chat before we go on to the next video. It's crazy, guys. Okay, trying to move the. Oh, sorry. That's private gardening. It was an honest question. Yeah, it was. Gardening says, I remember watching the government go after all the right about everything. It was from all directions. It was. We watched the insanity. This was why when it was time to pick someone to run against Joe Biden, people said Ron DeSantis, and everyone knew that the only person who had 100% chance of winning was President Trump. That was the only chance that conservatives had, because the Democrats talk about an existential threat all the time when there is none. Meanwhile, the conservatives knew that there was an existential threat because they were getting arrested, they were getting canceled, they were getting censored. Guys, grandmas in wheelchairs were getting arrested for praying outside abortion clinics. Jeez. Intergalactic Wrangler, good to see you in the chat. I'm going to just put your chat up there. Okay. So if you're watching, feel free to post your comments in the chat. Okay. Gardening says, I know it happened, but I can see how people forget. People have short-term memory, especially when things are good. When things get good, they start complaining about stupid stuff. Okay, they complain about stupid stuff. For example, you're in the desert. All you need is water. And then you get a cup of water, and then 2, and then 3. And next thing, you want a beer. That is human nature. That's human nature. Or you're hungry. You really just need a slice of bread. You get a sandwich, and next thing, you want a steak. That's human nature. They complain about the stupidest things, forgetting the fact that there was a time when things were horrible. Gardening says, let's see. Okay, audio is good. Sorry, I already read the other bits about the rants and so on. Sound is good at the moment. Okay, let's jump over, guys, to The View. All right, Sonny Hostin now claims there was very limited destruction of property and violence during the BLM uprising. This is a classic example of people trying to rewrite history that we all lived through. And I'm going to just play videos after this. All right. Tell that to the billions of dollars in property damage and the murders, Sonny. Let's play this and listen to it.
I just think we need to make it clear that there can be no comparison between the Black Lives Matter movement and what we saw on January 6th. So I just want to make that clear. There were very limited destruction of property and violence during the uprising.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started.
Yeah, it's not. It's not unruly.
No one should be destructing property and that sort of thing. But I understand the anger.
What you are seeing now, these images.
No one should be destroying property, but I understand the anger. So it means that if there's any destruction in property, it's okay. It grinds my gears. It's just more of don't believe your lying eyes, guys. Don't believe your lying eyes. As soon as the incident is a few weeks in the past, they begin to tell lies about what happened.
Came and come in stark contrast to what we saw over the course of the daytime hours in Kenosha and into the early evening, which were largely peaceful demonstrations in the face of law enforcement.
All right, so here's the largely peaceful demonstrations according to these clowns, okay?
I want to be clear in how I characterize it. This is mostly a protest.
Businesses were getting burnt down.
It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started.
All right, I don't want YouTube to flag this for copyright purposes, but this is essentially what was going on during the Summer of Love, guys. If you forgot, this is what was going on. Sonny Hostin, The View, and ABC want us to believe that the destruction of property was largely minimal. Guys, it was limited destruction of property. It's limited because your own property didn't get destroyed. Okay, this was going on for the entirety of the summer of 2020 when they told you and I that we were not allowed to go to church to congregate. We were not allowed to visit our relatives who were in hospice or in the hospital, some who were dying. You are not allowed to do any of that, but it was okay to get out there and protest and destroy property. Kamala Harris was raising funds to bail these criminals out. Hollywood was putting up videos, taking responsibility. Six years ago, as cities burned, the Democrats and media told us these were peaceful protests. 6 years ago, as we were ordered to stay home and stand 6 feet apart, it became okay for large, peaceful protests. Okay, they weren't saying it's okay to protest, but remember to stand 6 feet apart. There was none of that going on. They literally said, Gavin Newsom said that the spread of the COVID-19 virus was largely attributed to churches. I get upset because, I hate lies. 6 years ago, Pelosi thanked George Floyd for sacrificing his life for justice. It is insane that we had to live through this. Now, I have some, I would call it some news, okay? Bombshell expose. Black Lives Matter Executive Director Tashila Sherry Amore Dickerson was charged for embezzling $3.15 million into her personal account. She used them to buy 6 properties, a car for shopping, and $50,000 in food deliveries. Let's have a listen.
Fox News alert, a BLM executive indicted for embezzling millions in donations and spending it on vacation, shopping, houses. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has the details. Kevin.
Crazy stuff, my friend. Authorities say over a 5-year period, 52-year-old Tashila Sharia Moore Dickerson, just like the song, the executive director of Black Lives Matter OKC, diverted more than $3 million in returned bail checks right into her very own bank account. And tonight, thanks to a 25-count federal indictment, she faces up to 450 years behind bars.
I hope she goes to jail. I hope she goes to jail. This was one of the grifters who fueled the Summer of Love, encouraged people to get out there and destroy property, took donations to continue the destruction, and then decided that that they were going to essentially spend all of those donations on themselves. Okay, this is justice.
And millions in potential fines. Dickerson charged with 20 counts of wire fraud and 5 counts of money laundering following a scheme in which she's accused of routing money intended for the group's programs into accounts that she controlled between June of 2020 and October of 2025. The indictment said she used the money for her own personal benefit, including travel to Jamaica and the Dominican Republic, tens of thousands of dollars in retail shopping, more than 50 grand in food deliveries. Also a vehicle and 6 real estate properties as well. When contacted about the charges, a spokesperson for BLM says that they practice a, quote, model of decentralized leadership.
Really?
Oh, and by the way, you've heard the expression, birds of a feather flock together. Well, I'm going to leave this right here, Jesse. That's Dickerson with Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, enough said. Enough said.
Draw from that what you will. And while Dickerson is obviously presumed innocent until proven guilty, you may recall that BLM actually had a situation back in 2022 when the group, not the one from OKC, came under fire after allegedly making a $6 million property purchase in California using donor funds. Some things don't change.
Well, we all knew that the corruption was happening. We all knew it was happening. It's amazing, guys, that years later, all of this is coming out, and you were right. Okay, you were right. When you sat at Thanksgiving dinner and you were telling your family who thought that the Summer of Love was a fantastic thing, and you were saying, look, this is wrong. These people are lying. These people shouldn't be out there destroying property. No matter what they're saying, look, it is categorically false. And they said that you were essentially a MAGA stooge. Okay, you were right. Okay, so congratulations. Now, one other thing came up, or one other thing essentially came out of that period of protests and craziness and the George Floyd situation. And that was that BLM, okay, so the George Floyd and BLM riots provided one of the greatest propaganda backfires in history. They demanded police body cameras. These leftists decided that they were going to say, hey, we're going to prove that everything we've been saying, that the police is is vile and evil and hateful and wants to exterminate black people, we want you guys to put on body cams on all the police officers. They forced the American government to spend millions of dollars installing body cams on every police officer in the country. And the American government obliged and said, okay. And and a bunch of them said, we're going to see these racist police officers. We need the evidence to defund the police. So many future lies by the media and the left to push systemic racism was ruined, because here's the product of, oops, I did something wrong. Okay. Here's the product of all of the, the idea that they were going to catch all these racist police officers murdering black people for no reason. Okay, like The View wants everyone to believe. It was tape after tape after tape of black people acting like savages, attacking the police with knives, attacking them with firearms, and getting put down. And now they don't want the body cams anymore. It's as far as I'm concerned, this is just poetry. Okay, it's just poetry. So let me check the chat because, all right, let's see. All right. Now, before I play the next video, I'm going to read the chat. Guys, I haven't had dinner. Gardening essentially started all of this, trying to wolf down some food before the show, and I didn't want to say anything about it. But then Intergalactic Wrangler decides he wants to get in on the action. He said he had 4 bowls of spaghetti. Dude, 4 bowls of spaghetti. Okay, that's good. Okay. Let's see. All watchers, please hit the like and the share button, please, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, that video never gets old. It doesn't get old. These people have shown us who they are, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. They've shown us who they are. We thought the TDSBC were reasonable people who just wanted to tell the truth. They were so scared and afraid that Trump, the Trump you never knew. They knew who this guy was, and they were trying to warn you about how horrible Trump was. Listen to us. CNN with the likes of Don Lemon trying to say, oh my God, I don't understand how anyone can vote for MAGA. MAGA is such a brain-rotting group and so on. They kept saying all of these things, but the more they said it, the more curious you and I got. We did our own research and found out that they're all liars. They're all liars. They lie consistently, never telling the truth. Maybe BLM will bail her out. Nah, BLM does not care. They are currently searching for the next grift. Okay, BLM is dead. So right now they're looking for another group. They're trying to create another crisis, which will give them the opening to create another crisis group like BLM was. That's what they're trying to do. Okay. If you haven't noticed anything about the left, one thing you will see is that they can be depended on to save their own skins. That's why whenever someone does something that is reprehensible and they've been caught, everyone begins to run for cover and distance themselves from the people that they initially endorsed. Eric Swalwell, anyone? He was endorsed by Hakeem Jeffries. He was endorsed by Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. He was endorsed by all the leading Democrats. And once it got out that he was a degenerate, they all ran for cover to save their own careers. All right, let's jump into the next video. Now, I like to bring back these things. Like I said earlier, people forget. And when we're done with the videos, I'm going to give you an update on what happened with the with the setup, the studio, and I want to talk with you guys. If you noticed today, the live stream came earlier. I'm trying to bring it earlier because I know that a bunch of us on the East Coast, especially, can't stay up as late as the live streams have been. So I'm trying to bring it back to center where everyone can experience it. So, I want to appreciate you guys who've done your best to show up. Gardening, Intergalactic Wrangler. Patricia was on the live stream on Friday. You guys missed her. She was in the chat. Okay, but I'm not sure she's here right now. Well, if she was here, you would know Patricia is here. Okay. Now, so just stick around. We're going to talk about a few things when we're done with the stories that we're covering. All right. Now, it was even admitted by Biden himself that prosecuting President Trump was political, but that didn't stop shills like Wolf Blitzer. We're going to watch this because here's J.D. Vance essentially taking CNN to task about the conviction, the 36 convictions that people still parrot today. If anyone has been given all the evidence to say that the 36 convictions against Trump were essentially valid and that he's a convicted felon, I will not take you seriously. Will not take you seriously. Let's have a listen to J.D. Vance's comments on this.
The first president or former president in American history to be convicted of felonies.
So let's talk about precedents. He's convicted of a literal paperwork violation.
He's convicted
that is the predicate.
34 felonies.
All of them paperwork violations. Rule a single paperwork violation, and they drew 34 felonies out. That should really bother you, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Now let's talk about precedents. 6 years ago, Hillary Clinton paid $113,000 that was misclassified as a legal expense. That's the exact same thing that Donald Trump is accused of. Hillary Clinton got a slap on the wrist and a fine from the FEC. Donald Trump has had 34 felony indictments. It's so obvious that this is about politics.
So, guys, like a blind person can see that was what this was all about. It was all about politics. But you know what? The left will continue to shine the light to say, oh, like they do with January 6th. Okay. Look at the Summer of Love. Look at the insane ICE protests or riots across the country. And they say, well, how about January 6th? That's all they've got. That's all they have. What about January 6th? What about January 6th? I'm still waiting for the GOP to get their act together and release the actual reports and the videos of what happened on January 6th. Because now I'm not holding my breath, but I think it will go a long way towards clearing the air on the insanity that was the January 6th setup. It'll go a long way. But I believe that there are people out there who, no matter how much proof or evidence you give them, they still will not believe that January 6th was a setup. Just like people still use the Very Fine People hoax still today. Years after it's been debunked, they still use the Very Fine People hoax till today. And these are intelligent, educated people who have the internet, who have access to AI. They can do their own research, but they choose not to, because they listen to Ali Velshi. They listen to TDSBC. Don Lemon is their pastor, essentially. Whatever he says goes. And Barack Obama is their Black Jesus. They don't do their own research. And so they continue to parrot these lies and hoaxes. Now, I saw this video in my feed, and again, these devilish, horrific leftist policies continue to fail everywhere. They are designed to destroy the communities where they are practiced. So this post says, they voted for it. Seattle residents are forced to build DIY barricades to protect themselves from roving gangs shooting up their neighborhoods after defunding their police, harboring dangerous illegal aliens, and electing radical leftist mayor of Seattle, Katie Wilson. Okay, so let's watch this.
We just saw a Honda Element drive around here, so we got to put a stump over there, I think.
You can't just illegally block the road because...
Another conflict divides North Seattle's Greenwood neighborhood.
It's either this or bullets in my neighbors' houses.
Not gunfire, but how far residents are going to stop it.
Our neighbors put these up in self-defense.
The risk of emergency services not being able to get through here is greater than the good that they think that they're doing from putting up this.
Makeshift barricades now block 3 streets off Aurora Avenue, and they're building frustration.
And I just don't think that this is the right fix.
It comes after residents like Kate and Peter say they've documented at least 8 shootings in about the past month within roughly 10 blocks of their homes.
We celebrate when there's not a shooting.
Until that evil is taken care of, we got to deal with this.
Okay, so let me see. I just want to see. Okay, so is he white or is he a person of color? The hat doesn't make that clear. Okay, I just wanted to, because most of the time, whenever someone is talking about crime and gang violence, usually people attack that person who is speaking up about it as being either racist or being a bootlicker. Like someone called me in the chat, in the comment section. So the desire to live a quiet and peaceful and safe life isn't something that is racist. It is something that everyone wants. And I'll say something about what this reminds me of. Because when things start happening this way, it's a clear sign that this city or state is becoming a third world nation. And I'm going to tell you a story of what I saw growing up in the 80s in Nigeria.
Yes.
Seattle requires permits to block or place structures in public streets. Unauthorized obstructions can lead to fines or removal orders. Kate and Peter say they were built over the weekend and say they don't know whether a permit was approved.
You can't just move these makeshift barricades out of the way. And you can see here they're made of dirt, gravel, chunks of concrete, and even logs.
But doing it yourself, I don't think is right.
Some say it goes too far.
It's not a good way to protest. It doesn't solve anything.
It's usually the woke crowd that have that opinion.
Say it goes too far.
It's not a good way to protest.
So look at this person. Okay, and it's just this thing of tell me you're woke without telling me you're woke. First off, did she call it a protest?
I don't think is right.
Some say it goes too far.
It's not a good way to protest.
She's calling people who are trying to protect their neighborhood protesters.
It doesn't solve anything.
It's not a fix for sure. It's a Band-Aid. This is Tylenol for stage 4 cancer.
Conflicts between neighbors ended in understanding and, in one case, a handshake.
I'd shake your hand and give you a hug if you're into it. But,
I'll shake your hand, sir.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Peter.
Peter Clark.
As neighbors push the city to stop the violence, their homegrown roadblocks could find themselves at the top of the city's to-do list and be removed.
We're at the point of we have to choose between the lesser of evils.
So, this is what happens when a city is devolving into a third world status. Now, Nigeria was already a third world country in the 80s, but houses didn't have high fences. I grew up as a child, understanding that you didn't need fences for your house. But robbers would routinely stroll into your living room and rob you blind because in the 70s, surprise, surprise, the government seized all the guns in private households. They seized all the guns. They essentially sent the police out and said, take the guns. And then once all the guns were taken from the general population, armed robbery skyrocketed. The robbers would simply stroll into your home in the dead of night and rob you blind, and in some cases, kill you. This started happening in the 80s. And what was the response of the government? Nothing. They did not do anything. And so people began to take action on their own. They didn't have weapons to defend themselves. What did they do? They began to deface the landscape by building high walls to protect themselves. And they would put broken glass atop the high walls to prevent these criminals from scaling over the fences. Do you know that, okay, you wouldn't know, but these gangs of robbers would literally write letters to the streets that they were going to come rob, and they would say, hey, we're coming to your house at such and such a date. Okay, make sure you've got money in your house or else. And if they reported it to the police would not show up. And do you know what? They would know who reported this thing to the police. I get frustrated because I see the same things playing out in some of these cities in the United States. And I'm like, can't you guys see what you're doing to your country? Can't you guys see what you're doing to your cities? It's so frustrating. And when you meet people who have fled communist countries to flee to the United States, and they see what the AOCs and Bernie Sanders and essentially the Democratic Socialist Party of America, which is the Democrat Party at this point, or the Democratic Islamic Socialist Party of America. Jeez. They scream the loudest because they've lived through communism. They've lived through it. They know what it's like to not be able to say anything about anything and not get reprimanded. I was talking with one of my friends. You know, he still lives back in Nigeria. I spoke with him today. And he said to me, we were talking about something about free speech, and he said something about, well, the government will come after you. They should be thankful that they don't live in Nigeria. And I said to him, that is why the Second Amendment was so important, because you can't have the government be or own the monopoly on violence. The people should be able to protect themselves against the government. You know what happens in Nigeria? If someone is too outspoken against the government, they send assassins to take you out. And if assassins show up at your house and you're fully armed, it makes the job harder. It's a deterrent. But the government takes away your guns. You're not legally allowed to take away guns. Sorry, to have firearms in your home. If they found out that you own firearms in your home and you were able to defend yourself adequately, guess what they do? They come to your home and they arrest you and seize your firearms. So when the Democrat Party talks about gun control, more stringent gun laws, I'm looking at these jokers and I'm like, you guys are just creating this is the recipe for destroying the United States. I have, like yesterday, I think it was yesterday, where I was celebrating the Second Amendment. I might just print a t-shirt about the Second Amendment and sell it on the merch store, because right now I am beginning to believe, and this is contrary to people who know that I'm a Christian and I happen to be prominent in my local church, and they would not understand what this is all about until they've lived in a third world country. I said yesterday when I covered the story, Intergalactic Wrangler joined just when I was covering the killings that happened in northern Nigeria. That was his first live stream. And someone at the church approached me and says, he saw this report about what's going on in Nigeria. Why is it that Christians can't defend themselves? I said, well, the government took away all our guns. And there was even a case where a farmer who was attacked by these Islamists, he was injured, he was able to fight the guy off, took his weapon, and killed the guy who was about to kill him with his own weapon. Guess what the government decided to do? They charged him for murder. And I think he was supposed to be facing the death penalty. That's why I took my kids out of the country. That's why. For those of you, you're going to get to know me a lot better, because whenever I get really calm and solemn, it means that I just held back from screaming, because it was insane. It's upside down world where you have people like this woman here calling a survival strategy, something that you're building to protect yourself, a protest. It's the kind of world we live in today. We live in a world where people just don't believe in common sense anymore. It's unfortunate. But I guess you're here watching, and I believe you believe. I believe you believe in common sense. So, yeah. So I have an update for you. So I kept asking, or I asked once if the audio was good, and you guys happened to say the audio was good. So here's what happened today. I took my son to daycare, and then I decided I wanted to stop by one of the stores. They sell used stuff. Essentially, is a pawn shop. Okay, PAWN. Okay, I know I'm an immigrant. Okay, it's not the PORN, it's a PAWN. Okay, I visited a pawn shop, and I wanted to find out if I could get a soundboard, because I was bothered about how the sound was being routed through the live streams, and the computers that I've been using have been really slow, and they can't handle okay. I'm gonna respond to the chat, because now we're talking. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, let's see. Okay, gardening says the accent just got me. Like, I'm an immigrant. My accent is always going to go sideways sometimes. Okay, so, but I thank you guys for sticking with me. All right. Intergalactic Wrangler says I really like JD. JD is, I don't know. JD is awesome at communicating what Trump has said. Okay, because the media just tries to push things sideways, and he's able to kind of bring them back to center and explain things elegantly, and he's able to push back. He is. Well, let's not get sidetracked, because I was ranting about something about how I fixed the sound today. So it's not a rant. It's not a rant. I'm just explaining. So I walked in trying to get a soundboard, and then the guys didn't have the soundboard, and then they referred me. Goodness, my face is hidden. I did not know that. Sorry about that, guys. I know you guys like to see me in all my glory. So the attendant refers me to one of the techies, and we're talking, and they're like, okay, here's what your problem is. Your problem isn't the software, it's the hardware. Your computers are just too slow. Your instinct to get a new computer is correct. And I said to them, okay, show me what you have like by way of high-end used computers. And then they showed me some gaming computers. And I looked at the gaming computers and I said to myself, I just have to tell myself the truth. I should just trade in one of my Macs. Okay, so I had to trade in the newer Mac Mini. And I said to them, okay, I'm going to come back and you're going to value the Mac Mini. I don't know, is this too much information? Okay. I'm going to trade in the Mac Mini, but I need to bring it in for it to be evaluated. So I brought it back a few hours later to be valued. And then it turned out that I wasn't going to get as much as I was hoping to, but eventually I was able to pull some cash from other angles and I was able to get a used gaming PC. All right. I got a used gaming PC. Maybe I'll take a picture of the gaming PC. It's old, it's dinged, but it works. And so I brought it home. I had already upended my entire space. I have disconnected the old computer, traded it in, brought back the new Windows PC. I don't like Windows. I'm a Mac person, but I had to make a decision. Do I stick to my wanting a Mac so much that I deprive you guys of simply having a smooth live stream experience whenever I do live streams? Or am I going to continue saying, is the audio okay? Can you hear me? I had to say to myself, look, the audience has to come first. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, use a Windows PC, and fix this. So I spent the rest of the day. I think I brought this in at 4 in the afternoon, in the evening, and I began to install all the tools that I usually use during the live streams. And at some point, because I used 3 screens. One of the screens wasn't working. I headed out to go look for a cable to do everything. And so by the time it was a few minutes to the live stream, I was still trying to set up. My room is just a mess because I was just, if I widen the shot, you see that this place is like almost like a hurricane came through, but I put away a few things. Then a few days ago, we switched out our internet provider. So I'm running a hard line directly into the supply system and everything kind of is working so well. So I woke up this morning not knowing that I was going to get a new used PC, Windows computer, which I don't like, but this has been working so well. And I hope that, this is more like, okay, hey, we get to do this without worrying that the audio is going to drop off. We get to go through these live streams together without any interruptions. And hopefully you get to enjoy the show a lot better because I'm not as distracted as I used to be about the audio, because it used to chafe at me like I'm playing a video and then I go back to the live to the live chat and then someone says the audio is off. I'm like, oh goodness, I have to go back and do this all over again. So so it's been quite the journey. And a few weeks ago, I told you guys to pray for me, that there were a few things happening with the family and things were things weren't working out the way we needed them to work. This is something I don't want to put on the main live stream, but it had to do with our immigration paperwork. I haven't had a 9 to 5 for 10 months because I had delays on my paperwork, and I had to go all in on YouTube because this is all I'm legally allowed to do. I talk about not breaking the law, respecting the laws of the country you move to, and I am a true believer of all of that. I haven't done any under the table work. I haven't tried to break the law by trying to find any loophole that allows me to work. So there's been things that have actually been piling up. We have a mortgage and everything going on. And then I said to you guys, please pray for us because we're going through a transition. Things had actually gotten worse. I don't want to give you more information than that because it involves some people that may not want this to be public. Things had gotten worse. But a week or so after I asked you guys to, hey, when you pray, if you pray, please pray for us as well. Things began to turn around. And right now we're like things are almost fixed. Like I can't give you all the details. I can't. But thank you for praying for my family. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for jumping on the live stream. All right. A super chat from Gardening. Thank you. Thank you. She says, and no sound emoji buttons going in the chat. This is a channel. This is channel money, not your money. It is. This money is going towards let's say you're contributing to the computer that I just bought. So you're contributing to this. This is the computer money. Okay, so the computer just made some money. All right, so thank you. So, guys, thank you for being here. Like you guys are the regulars, Intergalactic Wrangler, Gardening, Patricia. Patricia has had quite the month. So those of you who haven't met her, she's almost like my co-host. Okay, so she's had quite the month, and she was on. She watched on Friday. We talked for about an hour after the live stream had ended, and she's had quite the month. But you guys, Gardening, Intergalactic Wrangler, Patricia, Canary Kin, Mackheimler. I'm trying to remember all of you guys that have been following the live stream religiously over the last 8 to 10 months. I want to tell you guys I'm grateful. I want to tell you guys that in a few months or years, when we're like looking back and it's like, okay, the channel has grown, because I believe the channel will grow. And we're telling these stories about me dragging my used Mac Mini to go to a pawn shop and to get a Windows computer because I needed to serve you guys better, because you guys deserve better service from me. It's going to be funny to tell that story. It's going to be unbelievable to a lot of people, but it's going to be a story that's going to have all of your names all over it. I'm never going to forget you guys. I'm never going to forget your names. I'm always going to remember that you guys, stuck with me, supported me with your views, your chats, your messages in the email. Look, I am grateful. Okay, so I just wanted to just take this time out to just have this moment with you guys at the tail end, because usually people who are not fans of the channel drop off by the last couple of minutes or few minutes of the live stream, but you guys stayed till the end. And I wanted to reserve this story for you guys because this is a very private moment for us to talk. Thank you for all your support. Gardening says, honestly, the sound and the show is running smoothly. Best wishes. Thank you so much. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. It means a whole lot when I see someone willing to not just spend their time watching the show. Gardening, you take the time to get into the chat, to moderate the chat and to be supportive. Thank you. You send emails, you do all of that, and I'm very grateful. Intergalactic Wrangler, you're always there. Always there. Watching in the background, especially when you're working and you have no business watching my show while you're working, but you're there. I appreciate you guys so much. So I've spilled my guts to you guys, and I'm going to have to spend tomorrow morning working on cleaning up the space and making sure everything is exactly the way it should be. I still have a few things to work out, but I'm so glad that the audio works smoothly. The videos played smoothly. Everything is working great. And it's all because of you guys, and it's for you guys. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Gardening, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for another $10 super chat. $20 in a night, Gardening. Thank you so much. She says, we all appreciate you bringing us together. I do want to bring more people like us together. I do want to spend time with you guys, like talking, because I'll be honest with you, whenever you're living in times like this where it almost seems like you're the only one, it feels like you're the only one who sees things the way they should be. It can be very lonely. So it's always great to have a community where you can come in, and it's not like we're always going to agree on everything 100%. But one thing we can agree on is that common sense, at least decisions have to be made with common sense. Okay, not by race, not tribal issues, common sense. Things that everyone can agree on. Things that everyone knows is true and are willing to live by. Not insanity like the thing we watched at the very beginning of the live stream. Not people who just want to change the laws of physics, okay, and pretend like it's normal, okay? So this community is going to grow. We're going to grow. We're going to have more people hang out, and we're going to just continue to have fun. I hope that eventually we can make this fun, not just talking about the things that grinds our gears, but talking about things that makes us laugh and bond to become closer as a community. Intergalactic Wrangler says, clean your room. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Dad. And stay safe, everyone. I have one teenager and a 10-year-old girl, and now we're in the phase of clean your room, and it's like pulling teeth. So yes, Daddy, I'll make sure my room is clean and tidy. All right, guys. I hope you guys like the earlier schedule. We're going to try to get to the sweet spot where everyone is comfortable with the schedule and we can all get together. We're going to be back tomorrow with more stories. Again, I would like to ask for you to send your suggestions. If there are stories that pop up and you want us to talk about them, you can send your ideas to the email on the screen, crossroadsirl@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And if you want me to pray for you while I am taking my prayer walk, because I take a 1-hour prayer walk virtually every other day, if the weather allows or my schedule allows, I take a walk and I pray. And while I take my walks, I always think about you guys and I pray for you guys while I take my walks. If you want me to specifically pray for something you're going through, you don't have to go through the details or put the details in. You can just send me an email to say, hey, I would like you to pray for me about this thing as well. And I will add you to my list of people that I pray for. I know that everyone is going through difficult times. People are different phases of their lives. And sometimes something hits you and all you can say is, God help. Okay. And you need someone to stand with you and to pray with you. And maybe you're watching and you're like, I don't know about this prayer thing. I thought he's supposed to be commenting on news and politics. Well, I like to consider that God brings us together because, yes, we should talk about news and politics, but yes, we should also love each other by supporting each other and praying for each other and telling each other the truth. And the commentary has to be the truth. So I'm grateful that you guys are here. Again, we'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to move everything to make sure that I'm here 9 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to have another great show. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again for the super chats, gardening. Thank you, everyone who's watched and who's commented, liked, given a thumbs up, everything that you guys have done. I'm grateful. I'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. God bless you and good night.